Today. Sharon and I were saying, when we started singing his songs, knowing, of course, he's going to be here. He's performing in the Twin Cities at Northrop tomorrow in concert, and I just can't stop singing those songs.
You could sing many days before you ran out of his songs.
I know. I think for us it was formative. I mean, really captured nature. It was wonderful.
Captured nature?
Well, yeah. The soaring eagle feeling, and you slap on John Denver in your car. And, boy, you're out there with him.
You do soar. You soar
Yeah.
when you listen to John Denver.
Mhm.
I know, it's wonderful music. He's
So-
an interesting man who really makes a difference in the world.
So, in today's show, you're going to meet John Denver because he's here in the Twin Cities, as I said, for a concert. We'll find out what the new John Denver is like.
And we will learn about a new method of...
In a way, a new man with the same beautiful voice. He has, you will see, a new look. He has a new album out, which is called Higher Ground. Welcome, please, John Denver.
It's nice to be back in Minneapolis, thank you.
Yeah, we should mention that generally you wear contacts, but you have a little problem with your eyes.
Well, so I've either scratched an eye or I got, a hair or something under it, and in the process it's all scratched and puffy and red and feels weird, and forgive me for wearing my glasses.
Yeah, so we don't want people to think you're trying to be a star. Shades, So
I
is
can
there...
get rid of it if you want to see this.
Yeah. No,
I don't know how it's doing.
Ouch. The light must hurt it, doesn't it?
It drives you crazy, How can such a little thing...
Yeah.
Thank you.
There. Relax again.
I read a quote that said that you felt you didn't really become your own man until you were 40 years old. Is that true?
Yes, as a matter of fact. There were a lot of things that happened in my life, especially the success that came with my career and the people who were a part of that. And you kind of get caught up in a tide that pretty soon can run away with you if you're not watching out. And I think there were pieces of really, wanting to take control of my life and being responsible for myself that go further back than that. But really where all of it sort of came together for me, I was about 40 years old.
Well, how did you change?
Well, I don't think that I changed really at all. I think that I've matured, hopefully, and I certainly feel, I think the biggest thing for me is knowing I know what I want to do. I know how to get it done. I know what I don't want to do, just as importantly. I know what kind of people I want to work with. I know what kind of people I do not want to be associated with. And getting to that place where you're clear about your life and what you want to do with your life, what's important to you, having your own integrity, and where you're able to make decisions out of that integrity, is a place that all of us come to sooner or later. And for some it happens very quickly and very easily, and others it takes time. And that's where it took me, it was about 40 years.
That tide you talk about, did it take you in directions that you wish you hadn't gone in?
No, not necessarily that. I think that there were some mistakes that I made career-wise, like the one that keeps coming up for me. I should have done more with movies after Oh God. And I had the opportunity to do An Officer and a Gentleman. Was the one that came
You turned
my
that
way,
down?
and I turned it down.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, too
Stupid
bad.
move.
Why did you turn that down, John?
Well, the script that I saw read pretty much like just sort of a B movie, and I didn't really see anything in it like what I had seen in Oh God, and I didn't want to do a movie just to do a movie.
Yeah.
We had been offered a whole lot of scripts before Oh God came around, and I wanted to do something that was also reflective of what I'm trying to do with my music, what I'm trying to do with my life.
Your music seems like such a personal expression, and movies tend to be such a combination of people's visions. Do you feel satisfied doing a movie the way you do writing and performing music?
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
And the ones that I've done, I feel good about, and I'd like to do more. I'd really like to do another feature film, and I'm going to this next year. So.
Nobody in the public wanted John Denver ever to get divorced, obviously. And it must have been very difficult for you to live through that. There must have been huge rejection after Annie's song and all that. How did you handle that?
Well, just being honest about it, I think Annie and I, who I think have the best relationship that I know of between any divorced people, had gotten to a place, we grew very far apart. And We were not friends anymore. We did not have the same friends. We did not talk about the same things. And it really was, being locked up in a situation that the expression of which was an absolute contradiction to our real experience was not something that there was no integrity in that, like we were talking a while ago. And so Annie and I came to the same place at very much the same time, and decided that we needed to change the form of our relationship. And I think we made the right step, and it shows more than ever now in the relationship we have now and how well our children are doing. We did the right thing.
We're going to continue, John, because a lot of people in our audience who have questions for you. We'll be right back. John Denver, Stewart.
We are back with John Denver, and I want to throw it to you because I know watching that inspired something for you.
Go ahead.
Oh, I know you wanted to ask John what it was like, the amazing celebration that goes on when you do those songs. What was it like when you first had those songs out?
Well, one of the things that happened is if you would do a song for the audience before they'd heard it on the radio or had the record, and there was a big reaction to it, then you knew that you had a good song.
Right there live.
And quite often before that, in writing the song, you knew that you had a good one. Calypso, I knew from the beginning that was a great song. Annie's song was a great song.
So it feels good when you're writing it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where it's most important. And then after that, this is like icing on the cake.
Some questions here in the audience.
My name is Velma, and I work with the St. Paul Early Childhood Family Ed program, and we work with many parents. And I wondered from John, how does he manage his family and his career, being that he's a celebrity, and how many times
And
you get to
traveling
see
so much.
and how many times you get to see your family? How do you work out vacations, holidays, things like that?
Well, Annie and I have a great relationship in regard to the kids, and like any time that I'm home, I can have them. If they're on vacation, they can travel with me. I've had them several places around the world. I just had the kids last night. It's just such a wonderful thing to tuck them in at night and get them up in the morning, and so that's great. And I think that my life is way out of balance in regard to the time that I had with my family, and that I have now, and I feel it more with the kids being teenagers now. And I'm really striving to get that in much better balance, and plan on doing a lot better job with the baby that's coming into our lives.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm Marjorie from the Bloomington Federated Women's Club, and I wanted to ask you about the possibility of you going into space with the Russians, and what you really thought about that when they did ask you.
Well, so I appreciate your asking that question. A lot of people, I've gotten a pretty hard time over the last few months since this became public. I was the catalyst for the whole Citizen of Space program getting started. And until President Reagan said he was going to send a teacher first, I really expected I was going to be on that first flight. I had an enormous amount of support at NASA. They did not reject me. I was high up on the list who had flown very quickly after Krista, when I wasn't on that first flight. The Soviets approached me a little over a year ago, seeing if I would be interested in flying in their space program. I met with them last March and again in September. And they had a slot for me, actually, a year from this coming December to fly. And I communicated them now that Cassie's pregnant, that I'm not available to do anything until well after that baby is born. There are also some aspects that still need to be negotiated. They have said that it costs $10 million to house, train, and ultimately put a man in space. I've told them unequivocally that I'm unwilling to pay that, which is kind of funny because I had several different sources who were ready to come up with the money. But I think it's inappropriate to do that. It's not furthering of what I think we were trying to do there. I have some other people very high up in the Soviet Union who are working on my behalf to waive that $10 million clause. And if that happens, and there's still, and I don't get too old in the next year, then I'm still up for it.
John, you sound a little bit angry about that.
Well, I was very, very frustrated about the whole way the press perceived this over the last several months, and especially because Time magazine, who, when the story first broke, it broke in Aviation Weekly, and there were two totally erroneous facts. One, they said that I approached the Soviets, asked them to fly, and offered them $10 million. And as I just said, they approached me, and they said this is what it costs, which is what they're also charging the Frenchman who's flying later this month, and there also is an Austrian candidate whose government has come up with the $10 million.
People are already doing it.
They're already doing it, yeah. I'm not the only one that they've approached like this. So anyway, over a whole bunch of time, very quickly, I talked with NASA and the State Department and made a press release about this, which we sent to Time magazine specifically. They were the ones hounding us most. The guy totally disregarded the letter that I sent him and reprinted the erroneous and incorrect information. Time magazine. Now, you know, I kind of used to believe in Time magazine. I don't believe People magazine, but I felt pretty badly about that, and that has been the source of all the opposition that I've had to this whole thing, is that $10 million. So yes, I am angry about it.
We are just about out of time, but I know you have said that you would like to be a role model to young people. What do you want to represent to them?
Well, my parents raised me to be myself, to live with integrity, to continually reach beyond myself, to be the best that I can be, to treat my elders with respect, to honor my country, to honor the world that we live in, and all life that lives on this planet, and to always do what I can to make a contribution to that life. And that is what I've tried to do. That is simply who I am and how I was raised, and I owe it to them. I owe it to that small family farm that my father was raised on that was such an influence in my life. I owe it to my family. I owe it to Annie and to her family here in Minnesota, who were just a big influence on me. And you know, that's what the kind of influence that I would like to be on young people.
It's great to have you back in Minnesota.
Nice.
Let us mention that John does have a concert coming up tomorrow night at Northrop Auditorium. If you would like more information about that, call Northrop and find out about tickets tomorrow night at 8 o'clock.
Thanks, Sharon.
John Denver.
Rocky Mountain High introduced everyone to a concept of a carefree lifestyle called a Rocky Mountain High. But even before that, a number of country roads and even a jet plane or two brought him right here to our very Twin City area. And of course, John Denver has now returned to the Twin Cities for a concert tonight at Northrop Auditorium. Welcome back.
It's great to be back, Bill. It's great to be with you.
You know, we all kind of claim you as one of our own, even though you only lived here a couple of years, didn't you?
A couple of years, but very formative, or found that kind of success or celebrity, whatever you would call it.
Mm-hmm. You know, we were thinking way back now. I want to warn folks that I'm going to the second of the two videotapes we had ready, okay? We just wanted to do a little remembering way back. This was in 1970. Take a look at John Denver here.
There are no jet planes in your life. I hope that your children someday know how incredibly beautiful flowers are. And I hope that they and us, all of us everywhere, can grow and live together in peace. Thanks for letting me be here today. It's by far the hardest thing
Now that was at a wedding, as it turns out, in 1970, 18 years ago. Remember that?
I do, as a matter of fact. I didn't remember June 13th.
I guess it's a little ironic that you said, I hope there are not too many jet planes in your life, because as folks here know, Nancy and I live a rather the half-life of being separated by half a continent.
Yeah.
You do a lot of jet plane flying too, don't you? I mean, your own jet plane flying.
Now I'm a Learjet pilot. I have, over 1,000 hours pilot command Learjet.
Mm-hmm.
Want to fly the space shuttle. Have 6 landings, actually, the space shuttle simulator here in our country.
Mm-hmm. And there's a possibility you might fly the Russian...
There's a possibility. They had a slot for me available next December, a year from this coming December. There's a bunch of negotiations going on. There's this question about the $10 million, which I've said unequivocally, I'm not willing to pay that. They asked me, there's a bunch of miscommunications that have gone out in the press about that, created some problems for me. But it is a possibility, and I'm pursuing it, but after my new baby is born.
Which will be in
May.
In May.
Yeah.
And of course, John has a new wife, and there will be a new baby, which came as a surprise to everyone.
It's an absolute miracle. It truly is, as you and Nancy know from a long history. But you know, miracles happen every day, and I guess this is just another one. It caught Cassie and I not so much by surprise, because we really wanted a child. However, as deeply as I was involved in the situation with the Soviet Union and a bunch of other things, and now to feel so strong that all of that is on the back burner.
Okay, we can welcome all of you to Northrop Auditorium tonight to congratulate John and Cassie, and just to enjoy a lovely night of music of John Denver.
And I look forward to singing for you. Well, thanks.
Thank you, John. Stick with us now, more on CCO, and we'll be back with you on the Noon Report tomorrow.